Hello actors! My name is Adam Neiman. I'm an actor, director, and teaching artist in the Bay Area and for Performing Academy. And I just want to check in with you all and give you some memorization tips. So, this is a helpful video hopefully for any time, but especially while you're at home, while you're not rehearsing. This is a great time to work on memorization. So I want to give you a few tools and tips and tricks that might help you with your memorizing. Now, everyone has their own strategies, their own things that work for them. That's fine. If you have something that works for you, great, use that. Don't think that these are the only ways to use this. Think about them as extra tools to put in your toolkit. So if you're like, why can't I get this? Maybe try one of these tools and see if that helps solve your problem of memorizing for whatever the piece is. So, without further ado, let's get started. I've got 5 tips today that I want to focus on. The first one is the most obvious, which is repetition, right? The more times you repeat the lines and going over the lines, the more helpful that will be. However, by that I don't mean spending, okay, well, I've got a rehearsal this week and a rehearsal next week. I'm going to spend 1 hour on Thursday and then not touch it for the rest of the week. Actually, for memorization, something that helps most is touching on it little by little throughout the week. So if it would actually be better if you spent 15 minutes every day than for the week, rather than, or 10 minutes each day, let's say, rather than spending 1 full hour on one day. It's actually better for your brain. You can absorb more. That said, if you want to spend more time, that's totally fine. But make sure you also are doing it multiple times, repeating the number of times you spend rehearsing. That's going to really help for your brain. So repetition, and that means also when you're doing the memorizing, going back, doing it again, doing it again, doing it again, doing it again, right? It might get kind of boring, but that way it really lodges itself in your brain. Repetition. The second tip is make sure you're rehearsing full out, right? Don't rehearse the lines just by... Sometimes you can be like, okay, then the word's this, and the word's this. Like if your line is, come on everybody, we have to go over there. Not there, that way. Right? Okay, so come on everybody, let's go there. Not there, that way. You would not want to just go every time you rehearse, you don't want to be like sitting down or lying down just like, come on everybody, let's go. No, not there, that way. Come on everybody, let's go. Not there, that way. Because if that's the only way you do it, it gets lodged in your brain and in your mouth. Your muscle memory will learn it that way, and then on stage, when you're trying to do big and full out, you'll be like, come on everybody, let's go. No, not there, that way. Right? It's harder. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It's not impossible to break that habit, but it's a habit that is harder to break. So instead, try to learn it bigger. That way it's easier to be big, right? So you can be like, come on everybody, let's go. No, not there, that way. And that way it's that energy's in there already. Okay? That doesn't mean that you have to be shouting it if you're about to go to sleep and you're going over it in your head. But keep in mind, if you're going to do a lower energy version of it, also do a higher energy so you know what it feels like for it to be different. So, first one, repetition. Second one, full out. Third tip is make sure you try varying the style. What do I mean by that? I mean, play with it. So the line, come on everybody, let's go, not there, that way. Let's say that's the line. Again, don't just say it the same way every time. Don't go, come on everybody, let's go, not there, that way. Come on everybody, let's go, not there, that way. We don't want that. Instead, try playing with it, because that will give you the opportunity to find new things about it. So you can go like, come on everybody, let's go. Not there, that way. I don't know. You might do something that's totally wrong. That's okay. Feel free to make mistakes. That's what rehearsal's all about. Even if you're rehearsing at home, you're still rehearsing, right? So make those mistakes. In fact, go ridiculous with it. Try doing it like an old man. Try doing it like a baby. Try doing it like a sloth who's getting off of his bed, off of his hammock in the trees, but doesn't want to go to work. He's like, oh man. So a really tired sloth, which is a redundancy maybe. But play with it. Try things that you would never try. That's okay. You might find something that really works. That's what we're hoping for. You might find something where you're like, oh, that was actually really cool. Okay, so repetition, full out, vary it up, play with it. The fourth thing is make sure something that I personally find really helpful is connecting the beginnings and the ends of the lines. What do I mean by that? So especially if you have a really long line, right, where you've got a number of different things you're saying, right? So let's use the line I've been saying. Come on, everybody, let's go. Not there, that way. If you just go, come on, everybody, come on, everybody, come on, everybody, come on, everybody, and that's all you memorize, the next part of, you might go, come on, everybody. Oh, what are the words? Right? You want to connect. Come on, everybody. Let's go. What I like to do is I actually like to go, if there's a full sentence, I'll memorize the full sentence and the next word of the next sentence, or the next two words if it's like the or something, the next word or two of the next sentence. That way, it's like the full sentence and the next word or two. Then when you're going over the whole thing, they can all connect like jigsaw pieces, where then you're like, oh, this goes right into that piece, right? It's a little bit tricky to do that, but it will help you in the long run. So that's something I would suggest. Important note on that also is don't forget to be memorizing cue lines. What are cue lines? Cue lines are the lines right before yours, which means the other actor's lines. Maybe it's a sound effect. Maybe it's the lights coming up. Or maybe it's them saying like, well, I don't know, what are we supposed to do? Then I say, come on, everybody, let's go. Not there, that way. I need to know to be listening for, well, what are we supposed to do? I need to be listening for that line. I need to know what the words are going to be. Even if I don't know exactly how the other actor's going to say it, that's okay. I need to know what to be listening out for so I know when to come in for the next line. And that will help your brain, because then you hear the thing, you hear, what are we supposed to do? And then your brain immediately goes, oh, I know what I'm supposed to say right now. It's this, because you've made that connection. Memorizing is all about making connection with your brain, in your brain, making connections so that you can it's already there. It's all put together. All right, last tip is similar to the last one, putting it all together. Not just in terms of the line before and then your line and the jigsaw pieces of that, but the whole play. When you're going over your lines, at a certain point, when you've got like a certain scene down, you'll want to go through the entire show. Yes, you'll want to go through the entire show, going through the lines, and you want to be going through like, okay, once you let's say a scene finishes, you exit. You know that you exit stage right? Think in your brain where you are on stage at that point, if you've already blocked the scene. If you haven't yet, then just focus on the words. But if you've blocked the scene, go like, you should be thinking about your blocking, your stage right, stage left, entering, exiting, through with all of this. That will really help your brain with memorizing the lines. But then also think about, you exit, think to yourself, what do I do next? Think, well, the next scene I have is in two scenes where I come in over here and I'm a different character. So I need to I will change, and just imagine that you're changing into the other costume, and then you'll enter from this side and then start the scene, it starts going through the memorization of the scene. That connection of the full show will really, really help you in the long run. You'll feel that much more prepared for the actual show itself, for the final presentation, and even for run-throughs. And you'll be like, instead of being like, what am I supposed to do next? I have no idea. If you can go, oh, the next scene is this thing. And maybe even knowing like the next scene for the show is they're going to do that scene that I'm not in. Knowing that is really helpful, because you're like, then there's a scene I'm not in. I can take a moment and think about the next thing, which is this next scene that I am in. Think about the whole thing all put together. That's going to be really helpful for your memorization. Now, those are my 5 main tips. Repetition, doing it over and over, and varying it through the week. Full out, make sure you're doing it full out. Not all the time. Don't wake up your family, right? If you're doing it at night. Vary it, mix it up, so you can find different things. Connect the beginnings and ends of your thoughts, right? The big thing about connecting the sentences, it's also connecting the thoughts. So finding the times where you go like, I'm really excited, and then, oh, now that makes me angry. Find that energy shift. And the last thing is putting it all together. Think about the full show of how it goes from scene to scene. Now I'm going to give you a few extra tips, a few things that might help you. Those are my main things. But some people, I'll just list this out quickly. Some people find it helpful to write out their lines, right? That's not something that I personally do, but that might work for your brain, right? I know a lot of other actors who write out their lines, and they find that really helpful. So you memorize it first, then you write them out, and then you compare with the script and see, did I get them all right? Did I get every word? Oh, I messed up that word. Oh, that's what, okay, I need to relearn that thing. So writing it out might be helpful. Something that I I do really like to do is I like to use, I'm a very letter-based word person. So sometimes I'll be like, what's the word here? I keep messing up that word. Oh, it starts with an N, then a G. Okay, so not good. And then I've got not good in my brain, and then I can say whatever those words are. And even if the words aren't not good, it could be like, nearby Gunderson knew where to live. And I would go, not good nearby, Gunderson knew where not to live. That's just how my brain works. If that helps for you, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. Oh, and I didn't mention this, but I should also mention that feel free to ask for help from especially people in your family, perhaps friends. Sometimes this is something you could be doing, asking someone in your household, or even doing like a call, especially if you have like if there's another actor who has the script, who's a friend of yours who you might want to go over things with, that's also fine. I mean, if they're okay with it, right, and their family wants to. But especially for family, that's going to be usually the best way. Make sure you're find a time when they're available and able to do it. But if they're able to help, it's a great way to go like maybe ask a parent or a sibling to help you go over lines, and they'll hold the script, and then you can be saying the lines, and they'll say the other character's lines. That's something that I personally find really helpful also. I even sometimes record the other people's lines so I can play with it. That takes some time, but I think it's really helpful too. Okay, there's so many more tips about memorization, things that will help, things that you can play with. The biggest thing that I want you to keep in mind with all of this is just keep working at it. And find what works for you, right? Something that works for one person might not work for another person. And I think that's part of the exploration. That's part of what learning to be an actor is, right? As you figure out the things that work for you, you'll get better and better and better at memorizing. Because you'll go, oh, I know that what I need to do is do this. I need to highlight the lines. Some people like highlighting. I personally need to highlight the lines to really get it in my brain. I don't know why, but that's something that really helps me. Some people are like, highlighting, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. I mean, as long as you're able to follow along, that's what matters. For me, I need to highlight. Yes, connect all those thoughts, connect all the things emotionally. All right, one last time, I'm going to go over the main things, although I've given you a lot of tips now, sort of at the end. But I want to give you the main thoughts. Make sure your repetition, whether alone or with help, going over it many times through the week. Full out, make sure you're keeping that energy high, and with full out, find the emotional full out, right? Find the emotional connections of you're really happy, then you're really sad, then you're really confused, then you're really angry, then you're really scared. That will help you memorize, because that's about the brain making the connections. Because if you can go, that line, I say that line because I'm scared, I say that line because I want you to understand me, that will really help. Understanding your objective will really help with memorizing. Make sure you're varying it, make sure you're changing up how you do it. That's connected with understanding the emotional truth of what's going on, and your objective is playing with it and seeing, well, that doesn't feel right because I'm really angry right now. I would never say it that way. Great, then you know what not to do. That's okay. It's always valuable to know what not to do. Right? Connecting between the beginnings and ends, knowing your cue lines, knowing within your own lines, this line ends and then the next sentence begins. It's all connected. It's all about making those connections emotionally and about the beginnings and ends, the jigsaw pieces. And the last thing, putting it all together, thinking through the whole show from scene to scene to scene, and thinking through the whole thing and putting all of the threads together. Like I'm saying, the whole thing. It's all about making your brain connecting so that it goes from beginning to end. There's a path that you have to follow. That's what you're looking for. You want that path. Okay? So, hopefully this has been helpful. I've thrown a lot at you. Hopefully some of these tools you can pick up and put in your tool bag and try, and maybe you'll be like, this one doesn't work. That's all right. But maybe you'll go, oh, this one really works. That's all I want. That's all I hope for you. Okay? All right. It's been a pleasure. I'm sending my love and positive vibes out into the world, and I will see you all soon. All right. Bye, y'all.